Batman Killing Time issue 5, Tom King writing, David Marquez writing. So I actually really like this issue, and the reason why I'm saying that, because I'm going to start off with a slight critique, which is that I do think, while I understand why it takes 5 pages, talking about like this like just gunfighting massacre that happens in the park, I did think it went a little bit too long, to the point where when it got to like the 4th or 5th page, and again, because each page starts with on March 7th at 5:30 something a.m. So each page moves a minute ahead in time.
Yep.
When it got to like the 4th or 5th one, I'm like, all right, I get it. Lots of people die.
I started reading this before bed one night, and I got to about 5 pages, and I go, it felt like I should have been deeper into the comic, and I looked to see how much I had left, and I was like, oh no, I'm going to bed. I'm too tired. Because I had still had like 80% of the book to go, but it had just felt like, because of my brain working on trying to put the minutes all together, you know, and spatially put the scene together, which is really cool. I like the storytelling device of it, but you're right, those first 5 pages drug.
Yeah, they just, it just goes a bit too long. I don't like some of the moments. I like the bit of speculation at the end that there's someone who they think's a Joker goon who kills like 30 people, but then it notes down that it could have actually just been the real Joker, and he was just there for fun and then left. And I was like, I kind of like that. That might have just been the real Joker, but he's not going to get involved.
He sees a melee at a park. Although, did he just hop on one of the buses the Penguin was sending? Because remember, this place is like, what is like 400 miles, 300 miles from.
Yeah, he's hanging around in the Iceberg Lounge when they're all setting this up, and just decides to go for a laugh. Because I think because the one that might be the real Joker is the one that's on the bus when the guy's like cracking his joke, and he's like, "You may want to work on." And I was like, I think they're intentionally saying, it's probably the real Joker who's just having a nice night out, or a nice morning, I should say. But I really like this issue though, because like, as much as I think it goes on a bit too long, that the first 5 pages really does set up this idea of just this gigantic fight with like two sides, the authorities and all these henchmen just massacring each other. And then you come to like the page with Riddler and Catwoman, and they've got the family tied up, and they're telling the woman to come, the agent to come with the money, and they'll have their thing. And like, he says something where it's like, oh yeah, we'll meet at the gazebo in the middle of the park, and it'll just be me, the Catwoman, and you, no one else. And it's almost kind of funny because we just saw like dozens and dozens and dozens of people be killed at this time.
The one
tomorrow.
that got me is how the buses show up and how Marquez draws that. With each panel, another bus pulls up. Yeah, and then the 3 of them, and I'm just like, man, Marquez is killing it with the art.
Yeah, it's like 200 people all in that come in these buses, and then you've got all the agents on the other side.
Yep.
The agents are getting no money to pay this ransom, so they, she's like, oh, we need to go in and just take it from him and threaten him. Batman's getting an informant who unfortunately does get killed by one of the gang guys because he's got his phone out. But this sends Batman and the Help on their way there. The agents are on their way there. So what I want to say this does is that it does a great job of setting up this massacre at the start, and then the rest of the issue is all about everything building up to it. So
the lead up to it,
So good sense of momentum. Like once you get past that first chunk, like the momentum and the way it's building up to it, it feels epic. It feels like a big showdown's about to happen, and you kind of can't wait to see it all play out. So it's really good.
It's almost like reverse Reservoir Dogs, where we keep hearing about this thing that had happened, and we never see it. Here we lead with it, and then we see what led to it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that page with the buses is actually really good. The coloring, especially, just that morning sort of nighttime glow that it's got going.
Color, and then just the pacing. How he manages to do it with still images is really, really cool.
Yeah, and it's when the agent's talking to Riddler and Catwoman in the gazebo where she's got the voice in her ear saying, I think the Batman and another dude just pulled up and they're running in your direction. Also, there's like 3 buses. So it becomes this kind of race to try and make the exchange or whatever. Riddler didn't want to bring the actual item. Turns out Catwoman did though, and doesn't really care about it as much. And they just casually start referring to it as the Eye in this issue, and the flashbacks kind of set up as well. It's the Eye of God. I think because they were hiding it so much in the early issues, I was expecting something we'd recognize that was, it was like related to Batman or Gotham or DC in some way.
No, I just love the idea that it's this mythical item that only has value for what they're putting on it, right? Because we see in other times it was the Eye of Athena, not the Eye of as it was being told, if I remember right, it was the Eye of Jesus. You know, it was this holy relic.
Mm.
And so it causes chaos in every iteration.
Well, there's definitely chaos going on.
Yeah.
Here, yeah.
Right, but just the idea that this thing is just almost like it doesn't create human nature, it reveals human nature is what I like, because when you start tying in the ancient Greek aspects and everything else, that's what it seems to be playing at. And it's just this little wooden eye. To me, it looks wooden or stone or whatever, and it's just kind of rolling across this battlefield.
Yeah, there's all this fights going on, and it's right here where so we've had this narrator since the start of issue 1 talking about 5:57 this happens across town at 6:22 this happens, and I'm actually annoyed that none of us actually guessed who this was.
Me neither, because it felt like an omniscient narrator, just like if there was no narrator ever revealed. Like it was just like.
It didn't feel like it was wanting us to guess that, it was important who was speaking. It just felt like, like you say, like a narrator who wasn't important. But then here, towards the end, as the eyeball rolls out the case and it rolls down the grass into defeat, we hear someone say, are we to not lifted to the heavens by the King of Clocks? And then the last page is the full page spread. It's the Clock King holding this eyeball. It's been him all along. And all of a sudden, you're like, this is why the whole book's been like all these specific times and talking about the precise moments everything's happening around town and all the rest of it. It's all him building up to getting his eyeball that he wants.
That might be my second favorite Tom King Batman reveal after the Kite Man kites in War of Jokes and Riddle. Because when they all go off the windows and then they pull up and they say, hell yeah, that's so good. This one with the, basically the all hail the King of Clocks, and it's him standing there with his stupid clock glasses. I was like, son of a bitch. Like, he got me.
Yeah, he's in the middle of the battlefield. Everyone's killing each other around him, and he's just standing there, looking at his eyeball. He's delighted with himself.
Mm-hmm.
I think this story, even though he's not been revealed till this penultimate issue at the end, depending on how they stick the landing with the last issue, it does kind of feel like it's elevating Clock King a little bit. This makes him feel like he's really smart, and he's played all these various big villains of Gotham against each other, and so.
I mean, when you think about how a clock works, it's all these independent gears that work together for a greater goal, and that's what all of these characters have been doing, right?
And if you talk about the eye saying it causes chaos, Clock King's the opposite of that. He's all about order. Right. It's all about time. It's all about things being accurate and so. Right,
and so
it's an interesting the way juxtaposition.
That he's done it. Yeah. Well, it's also like in the Dark Knight where the Joker talks about how much he doesn't plan things, yet you look at what he does and everything's an intricate plan. And that's just the smoke screen to everything. So it reminded me of that through this too. So
yeah. Art's good throughout. Obviously, we mentioned the bus panel page because we really like that one. But yeah, I mean, all the stuff with the murders at the start as they're killing each other is very good. Like it, as much as it maybe goes a couple of pages too long, it is very good.
Now the main agent is the one, Agent F Word, as she was called, because she has all the bleeps. She's the one that gets kicked to death, right? Like 200 and something times. Is that Espinosa?
That's her name. Honestly, I kind of missed that. I remember someone getting kicked to death.
Yeah, there's a part where it says, Agent Espinosa, I think it was, gets, kicked 200 and something times. See if we can pull that up.
No, that's not her. That's Agent Lynn Barton. Yeah, it's a different character.
There we go. So I was like, I kind of like this one agent. I hope she makes the, the jump.
No,
see more of her.
Yeah, I think she'll be in the final issue. I don't think she's dead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, even if she jumps from this to modern, Batman continuity, I always like these agents that take nothing from superheroes. Like she doesn't seem to care. She's a little bit too cocky, and that's her downfall here. But the fact that she's not afraid to go toe to toe with Riddler and Catwoman, I really like that.
Yeah. And the thing about that opening section as well is that I do like that it's giving you this little bit of history and who all these hench people are and like what their life is like. Are they leaving loved ones behind as they die? It just does it for too many pages. But if you put it down to like 2 or 3 pages, I would probably quite like it. At the very least, I do think it does enhance the rest of the issue in the sense that it does feel like this big, huge, epic fight that's going to happen, and it's all building to it. So, there's kind of a monkey's paw thing. I still think you'd have gotten that effect if it was just 3 pages as opposed to 5. But
yeah.
There you go. That about does it. All right. We'll see how things wrap up next issue, and if the narration changes because Clock King's now revealed himself. I'd be curious to see if they play with that mechanically as a writing device. But
or if it switches, to like 20 minutes from now, to where it plays into the future.
It's already done that, isn't it?
Has it?
Yeah, I seem to remember back in the first issue where it was kind of bouncing back and forward all the time, so it was constantly doing, 10 minutes from now or things like that.
Okay. Well, maybe, I don't know. Let's see where it goes. Or if it's all just in the present tense and reads like a normal comic, that'd be kind of disappointing.
I could see it working into it differently than it has done up until now, because it's now he's revealed and now it's kind of all out in the open. So, it was a cool reveal though. I wasn't expecting such a cool reveal at the end of the issue. So,
God, and he looks downright sinister too on that battlefield, picking up the eye. Yeah,
I think the trick of it is that the narration never made me think it was a character. I never felt that. So it wasn't until that second last page where he started referring to himself as something. I went, wait a minute, who are you? Yeah. And then the final page hits and it's like, oh, that was a good reveal. Very nice. What are you giving Killing Time?
I'm gonna give this an 8.
I'm also going to give it an 8. I would maybe even go a little higher if it wasn't just for that first part being a little too stretched out. But other than that, I really like this issue. So, Killing Times were pretty good by and large. I have to say. So we'll see the final issue next month.